If I'm a little kid in Sunday school, I learn about the ark, the flood in Genesis, the animals two by two. But I don't learn that Noah is naked and drunk in his tent afterwards. I don't learn that when God's chosen is in Canaan, that there's a famine and that he goes and gives his wife up to Pharaoh, who takes her, marries her, and gives him slaves and animals in return. Those are things that they don't teach you in Sunday school. And you look at those today and go, I can see why. What is going on here? You know what? I'm taking a completely metaphoric approach to this material. I'm trying to understand it in a way that it makes sense to me. And there's only one possible way, and that's if I look at it metaphorically. But then it has to take a certain very specific mental interpretation technique in order to unlock what it seems to be is there. My name is Dan Paulson. Welcome to the video. In this one, we're going to talk about Abram, Abraham, and Isaac, and each of them in iterations of us willing to give our wives up to somebody else because we're scared. What is that about? Okay, from BibleGateway.com, I've downloaded actually quite a few different variations of the Bible. I'm using an NRSV here just for the verbiage for what we're doing in this particular talk. And what we have is Abram and Sarai in Egypt. Just to bring everybody up to speed, we've actually gone through the creation, the destruction, the flood. Then we've had the Tower of Babel. Then we've got some descendants going on. And then we've got the call of Abraham. So this is very early on. Abram, the call of Abram. Abram is God's first call. God, that's who is chosen to lead God's nation. And I'm going to read something right here for people that are following along. I'm going to show you something right up here up front. Now the Lord said to Abram, go from your country and your kindred and your father's house to the land that I will show you. I will make of you a great nation. I will bless you and make your name great so that you will be a blessing. Right here, I will bless those who bless you, and the one who curses you I will curse. And in you all the families of the earth shall be blessed. This is you, and the earth is what? The earth is my life experience. What are the families in my life experience? All of my whatever it is that goes through my head, all of the things that are conflicting or good, bad, all of it. The families are all of the various facets of my mind. And in you, all the families of the earth shall be blessed. Blessed is good, blessed is bad. We are controlling what it is. We decide the quality of our life experience. God back here says, I will bless those who bless you, and the one who curses you I will curse. There's our cause and effect. I will give you the power to operate any way you want to, but in you, you make the decision about how your life is going to unfold. Whew. So Abram went, and the Lord had told him, and Lot went with him. We're going to get down here, all right? Let's just jump to this. All right, I want to talk through a couple of things here very quickly. Number one, the idea that God put them in a famine. If you think this through, it's like, well, God just created everything, called people. He's really getting ready to go. He's getting ready to start his nation of Israel. And he calls Abram and Sarai. And after all of the magnificent things he did, he puts them in Canaan, and there's not even any food there. There's a famine. So he puts his called someplace where they can't even, there's nothing even to eat. Does that sound reasonable? That's what the Bible says right here. That's what he did. We don't know why, but apparently that's what the story says. So what they're going to do is they're going to have to leave because you're going to die. So they go to Egypt where there is food. And then Abram is going to be fearful of his life because his wife is beautiful. He thinks that they might kill him for the sake of her. So he gives her up. Abram and Sarai are both going to, this whole thing unfolds and you're thinking, what is God doing in the background? And then when God does catch up, he sends plagues. But how long does it take for plagues to unfold? You have to think through the story and say, you know what? There's something wrong here. There's something at a deeper level. It doesn't quite pan out. God calls people and then puts them where they're going to fail. And then catches later after things have happened and it gets sex let's just read on and see what there is. What I'm suggesting here, though, is that if you try to explain this as a physical story, to me, it never works. There's just this falling short or this idea of, well, People are fallible. But no, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't. One of the things that antiquities teachers tell us to do is to put ourselves in somebody else's position, to walk in their shoes, to put yourself in their position. And I can do that. Do that right here. Put yourself in that position. Think of your own self. Now, I have my wife. I love my wife. We have a wonderful life, and I adore her. I love her. To me, she's a beautiful woman. Now, I can never imagine thinking to myself that that I'm afraid of my life because somebody might want her, and that what I should probably do is have to talk to her and tell her, look, let's just tell those people down the street that you're my sister, just because I'm afraid. And then they check, and sure enough, we say she's my sister, so she marries off to the neighbor down the street, and I get things in return for it. I start going very quickly. Stop. I don't even like the sounds of that. No, that's not me. I don't see how that happens. I don't see how this works in the mind of a called person who I am supposed to look up to. I look at that and go, I'm sorry, but my values are not that way. I don't feel that way. It's very old. What I want to do is understand the story as a metaphor. If I step back from it and go, you know what? There are people who say it's supposed to be a metaphor. If that's the case, what does it mean? Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. So for the interpretation process, what I'm going to be doing is this, that there is a conscious, and that is going to be the male in this material. The female, in this case, Abram and Sarai, is my consciousness and my inner self. It started out with my previous material, I have these videos up, but that starts out with us in the Garden of Eden. We are Adam, the consciousness, and Eve, who emerges from us, but we're in a pure state. We haven't had life experiences yet. And what I'm going to suggest is the same thing is going to be happening here, that we're starting off in a place where we're devoid. Remember, in the Garden of Eden, we had not consumed of the knowledge of the tree of good and evil. We hadn't eaten anything that was going to be life experience. Here, there isn't something to eat, so we're going to go somewhere where we can get something to eat, and that's going to equate to life experience. But let's read the story at face value, see what it sounds like, and then come back and look at it. Chapter 12, verse 10. Now there was a famine in the land, so Abram went down to Egypt to reside there as an alien, for the famine was severe in the land. When he was about to enter Egypt, he said to his wife Sarai, I know well that you are a woman beautiful in appearance, and when the Egyptians see you, they will say, this is his wife. Then they will kill me, but they will let you live. Say that you are my sister, so that it may go well with me because of you, and that my life may be spared on your account. When Abram entered Egypt, the Egyptians saw the woman was very beautiful. When the officials of Pharaoh saw her, they praised her to Pharaoh, and the woman was taken into Pharaoh's house, and for her sake he dealt well with Abram, and he had sheep, oxen, male donkeys, male and female slaves, female donkeys and camels. But the Lord afflicted Pharaoh and his house with great plagues because of Sarai, Abram's wife. So Pharaoh called Abram and said, What is this you have done to me? Why did you not tell me that she was your wife? Why did you say she is my sister, so that I took her for my wife? Now then, here is your wife. Take her and be gone. And Pharaoh gave his men orders concerning him, and they sent him on his way with his wife and all that he had. Let's look at that at face value. If that truly happened, then God dropped the ball, put us in a place where there's no food. We went somewhere to a foreign land, gave our wife willingly out of fear over to the leader of that country, who then, out of appreciation, gives us slaves and animals. However, finally, God figures out what's going on and starts sending plagues. How long does it take for plagues to happen? There was no quick jump in there. These are plagues. Cyclical pain, if you're following, you know what those are by now. So God sends plagues, and Pharaoh realizes then that you lied to me. Pharaoh's the good guy here. He realizes that he's been lied to, and he sends them all away. Sarai, Abram, and all of his goods. If you don't interpret that story, that's what happened. Okay, I'm going to throw something out that you've probably never heard of before. But before we do that, let's move on to the second incident. Here we have Abram and Sarai have been through some life experiences, and God has now changed them to the names of Abraham and Sarah. So these are the same two people, but further down the line. All right, the first appearance, this is where the name conversion is. This is chapter 17, verse 15. God said to Abraham, "As for Sarai, your wife, you shall not call her Sarai, but Sarah shall be her name. I will bless her and also give you a son by her." And we go through the some verbiage that after a while should start sounding familiar. But what we find out here is that Abraham is 100 years old and Sarah is 99 years old. Okay, that's just important to bear in mind. Now, let's move down below here, and what we're going to find is that there is a judgment on Sodom. There's some things that are happening. There's some destruction going on, and I'm going to glaze over that. What I'm going to do is get down here to where Abraham and Sarah get to Gerar. And here we have chapter 20. From there, Abraham journeyed toward the region of the Negeb and settled between Kadesh and Shur. While residing in Gerar as an alien, Abraham said of his wife Sarah, "She is my sister." And King Abimelech of Gerar sent and took Sarah. But God came to Abimelech in a dream by night and said to him, "You are about to die because of the woman whom you have taken, for she is a married woman." Now Abimelech had not approached her, so he said, "Lord, will you destroy an innocent people? Did he not himself say to me, 'She is my sister,' and she herself said, 'He's my brother'? I did this in the integrity of my heart and the innocence of my hands." Then God said to him in the dream, "Yes, I know that you did this in the integrity of your heart. Furthermore, it was I who kept you from sinning against me. Therefore, I did not let you touch her. Now then, return the man's wife, for he is a prophet, and he will pray for you, and you shall live. But if you do not restore her, know that you shall surely die, and all that are yours." So he rose early in the morning and called all his servants and told them all these things, and the men were very much afraid. Then Abimelech called Abraham and said to him, "What have you done to us? How have I sinned against you, that you have brought such great guilt on me and my kingdom? You have done things to me that ought not to be done." And Abimelech said to Abraham, "What were you thinking that you did this thing?" Abraham said, "I did it because I thought, surely there is no fear of God in this place, and they will kill me because of my wife. Besides, she indeed is my sister, the daughter of my father, but not the daughter of my mother, and she became my wife." You know what just went off in my head? Dun, 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 dun. "And when God caused me to wander from my father's house, I said to her, 'This is the kindness.'" Okay, so we go on there. All right, so regardless of any other details, we're not going to be looking at these being literal. So I want to be careful and not get into the minutia of the father and the daughter and the son of the whatever, all of that stuff. Okay, because what I'm suggesting here is that the way that I'm managing this is that these represent us. That we are Abram and Sarai. And then after a healing process, we become Abraham and Sarah. That is our conscious and our subconscious. That is our inner self that is stored, that is basically the stored decisions that we have made in life. This would square very much with other global material as far as the inward teaching path. If it's managed in a way like that, what one begins to understand is that it looks like a carrier package that is different than others for various reasons, but that internally I still can extract this self-healing process if you use those people in a patriarchal hierarchy in the same way that the mental hierarchy would be. The higher awareness that knows better, the consciousness that experiences everything and decides the quality of it and re-experiences the memories, the subconscious where all of that goes and becomes a product of Well, our judged life experiences, we have become that. And that is what there is being held in these stories. As we start off in the beginning, that when we're Abram and Sarai in the desert, that represents early life childhood. Then we go off and give ourselves up to life experience, represented by Pharaoh. Pharaoh's not real. Pharaoh is like the serpent, giving us the access to the knowledge of the tree of good and evil, life experiences. These are just metaphoric representations of the idea that now, after you're born, you start from a pure state. Now you're going to start gathering life experiences. We're making decisions. We're becoming products of our experiences, unchecked, what we're connecting to in life. We are becoming products of our agreements, as Don Miguel Ruiz would put. Judge not lest you be judged, for the judgment with which you judge others will be judged back to you. We're becoming products of our decisions that we make. And we don't know that. And that is what is being held in here, that our life experience is truly from a mental and a pure, happy place, is based in decisions that we've made and things that we're holding along the way. And that in order to extract ourselves from these, it sounds bizarre, doesn't it? It doesn't work in any other way. How do you explain these stories? If I'm Abram and Sarai in the beginning, that represents me being pure in the beginning, going off experiencing life, gathering things, and then being sent on my way, going through a healing iteration, going through a next one where I'm further down the road with more experience, but with some Sodom and Gomorrah healing behind me, which is what that is. In another kind of myth, you would have destroyed a monster right there. You've defeated something, and now you're moving on, and you're a different kind of a person. We are now different because we've left something behind. And that is a mental healing process. So then temptation comes up again, only this time it's stopped. The experience of life, we're getting stronger. We're not falling into it. And then finally, there's a third iteration where I won't even read it. If you want to, you can jump ahead and look at it. But it goes into the same sort of a thing where Isaac is the son of these two. That represents us again. We are rolling through. They are iterations of us if we're following this method right here. There's other ways of doing it. I mean, do whatever you want to. This is what I've decided that I think I see is going on, that this is rolling iterations of us as people in our life. That Isaac represents me later on after another healing, only this time it goes even better. But Isaac still is willing to give up his wife. What does that represent? We are willing to go out and live life experiences. The question is, do we get affected by it or not? When we're Abram, we do. When we're Abraham, we're getting better. When we're Isaac, we're no longer being influenced by life experiences. That's how I would interpret this, instead of saying, wow, it just happened and these guys are the way they are. I know this is different. It's just an idea. Thoughts, comments, please feel free to leave them below, and hope you enjoyed it. See you in the next video.